Hello everyone. Sai here. Thank you so much for joining me for a KCC, which is a Kendra card challenge number 14. Design Hop. This is focusing on the super sponsor. This calls for confetti. Great products I was given, and they're called the Happy Layering Die Set and the Happy Sentiments. I'm going to be creating 3 cards, but I'm going to go through it very quickly. We'll go and create 1 card fully, and then I'll show you how you can play around with this awesome product here. So this comes with a bunch of layering dies and then the matching sentiment, and you can use those little sentiments for inside the happy stamp. It's a lot of fun to play with. I will say first off, if you hear a lisp, it's because I just got my full retainer after getting my braces off, and I have to wear them for 8 weeks. So unfortunately, they have to be worn for at least 22 hours, and I've already taken them off to eat my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and 2 cups of coffee, and I'm not allowed to take them off anymore, and I need to do some recording. So I hope I do not mispronounce any words that cause confusion. So to start off this card, I am going to just stamp the big happy onto some black cardstock, and then heat set that in white. And it creates this nice bold text that's just going to be, it's a lot of fun to work with. And then using the the die set, I'm going to find the coordinating size and then cut that out so that I have just the perfect border around my happy sentiment. And I'll just stick some low tack tape there and run it through my die machine. I did have a little bit of a white speck, so I just took my Sharpie and known as the wiser, it hid that quite well. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take an ink pad and I'm just going to swipe it right across some white cardstock. The color doesn't matter. I just chose one that matches the pattern paper that I'm going to use. The reason I am using a big space is because I'm going to heat set in white the sentiment here that's also from the pack, or the stamp set, sorry, that says Days Ahead. And then I'm going to reuse the rest of it as the banners that are in the card sketch. And I'll show the card sketch I'm going to work on when I get to creating the actual card. So I usually do this about 3 times with my embossing just to make sure that it is a good coating. If you make sure that your card or your paper is in a corner, if you find that you didn't get enough of the heat embossing powder on there, you can always put it back in as long as you didn't move the stamp and use your embossing ink again to get another layer. Now I decided to bring out a pencil and draw a line because I was having a hard time seeing where this die was going to be needing to sit. I found if I flipped it upside down, I could see better where the gap is going to be. However, because I taped it to the desk and lifted it, I actually accidentally misaligned it. So if you look here, it is off a bit. So what I'm going to do is just quickly create that again, but you don't need to watch me do that, but I'll be doing the same process. And there we go. I really like this color on the black. It's just so sharp. So not to waste the rest of this, I'm going to just trim this down into my little banners. And there we go. Now I'm going to bring everything together, and this is the card we're going to create. I'm going to be working on sketch 13. I'm not going to put the little sentiment banner across the top there. I'm going to let the big happy be the square, and then my little sentiment, the one that says Days Ahead, is going to be essentially that skinny sentiment banner, but just a small version. Okay, so now I'm just adding the mats to the layers. And what I'm going to do is after I put this sentiment down, which says Happy Days Ahead, I'm going to lift up my panels with some very thin foam tape. This foam tape is from Uline. Actually, it's about 1/16 of an inch. It's a perfect width for me because it allows me to actually add multiple layers and not have too much bulk, so I can still mail it at a reasonable price. So I'm just going to center that, and now I'm going to decide, do I want 2 yellow banners or just 1. So I'm just going to play around with this, and I just decided that 2 on the outside looked better because it almost creates this triangle effect where you have the sentiment that says days ahead, and then on both the left and the right you have a yellow banner with the black one in the center. So I'm just going to quickly add some fishtails to these banners. Very quick. All I do is I cut a line down the center. It doesn't matter how far up you go. No matter where you cut, you just make sure that you start from the corner and go right to the end of the center cut. And then you get a nice fish banner. The more you do it, the better and easier it gets. So I'm just playing around trying to find a good position. So what I'm going to try to do is make it so that this black one is in the center with an equal height on the top and the bottom and left and right. That's how I try to do it. I think it's off center a smidge, but it's pretty close. That's kind of how I would do it. Okay, so let's just put these other 2 banners down, remembering that this yellow actually was just ink. So if you are looking for something that's matching, potentially your ink is a great way to create a solid color pattern paper. The nice thing is I could have easily added texture to this pattern, this yellow cardstock as well, just by adding a simple background stamp in black. That would have really tied this in, but in this case I wanted to keep it nice and plain. And I'll center this up, and I just happen to have enamel dots that were the exact color of this paper. I was quite shocked. I never have this luck, but look at that. Last second bonus. And I'm just going to put 3 of those on there, 2 in the top and 1 on the bottom. And that's that. Okay, so let's create 2 more cards. I'm not going to go through the whole process of creating the cards. Let's keep this video nice and short. But I really want to show how fun this stamp and die set are from This Calls for Confetti. So I cut this again. What I did was as you saw, I put the ink down with a different color and I used the happy die. Now I'm going to glue this down to a piece of white so it's matchy. And I did that using one of the nesting dies just to make sure that it's the right size. Now I'm going to put the centers of the letters back in, and all you need to do is just glue in. In my case, I was lucky because the pieces didn't fall out. Just glue a little bit on the inside and then place it back into its slot, let it dry a little bit and pull it out. Do not use too much glue because it might seep and then you might not get your letters out. So once that's done, I was able to just create another sentiment saying days ahead, and I just changed the banners up a bit. And that was that. Like I said, very quick. And then for the last one, I wanted to play with this happy stamp where it has the gap in the center. This is kind of fun, but this one does take a little bit longer to do. So I will fast forward it, but I'll explain what I'm doing. I just take a dark ink first, and it's important that you use a dark ink because you're going to act like a shadow. And then I'm going to pick one of the sentiments. In this case, I picked birthday, so it's now saying happy birthday. And I put it right in the center there, so it's all matching. Next, off camera, I took a lighter ink and I smooshed it on the white cardstock and I cut out the happy die again. But this time, I'm going to use it as a shadow, or to create a shadow effect. So I'll glue down each letter onto the darker background and leaving out a little bit askew. So you'll see here that it's going to be a little bit down and a little bit off to the right. And that creates this nice shadow. So I'll do this once more with the A, and let's put it off a slight, just using your eyes to gauge. And then when you get to this one, what I do is I just bring out a pencil, I kind of write down where I want to cut it. They are going to go flying because it's a small piece. It's not a big deal, as long as you can find it, or you can just cut another one out. And I'll do the same thing, but because I cut it, I am not going to affect the sentiment where it says birthday. This is where the extra work comes in, and you need to make sure that you don't cover that sentiment. I really like how this turned out. It's just a nice fun way of using the stamp and die set. So there we go. I've created a birthday card, just keeping it nice and simple. Here are the 3 cards again that I created with you. I know it went a little bit fast, but I wanted to show you what you can create using this die and stamp set. So the sketch is the same. All I did was change the technique a bit and change the orientation of the sketch slightly. For example, the banners being in different directions and heights. So I do hope you enjoyed this. I do encourage you to check out the other design teams and see what they created with This Calls for Confetti products. There is a prize that can be won at the digital downloads. So if you go into the description box below, there will be a form to fill out for your chance to win, and that will be announced on Cards by Kendra's YouTube community channel. Well, I do hope you had fun. And I really look forward to hearing from you if you want to leave a comment. And until the next time, have a great, fantastic week. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.